Welcome, everyone, to It's a Wrap with Rap. I am your host, Ron Rappaport. This podcast features people who have overcome life's challenges and adversities, people who can inspire and motivate, and people who can educate us on an array of topics. My guest today is Kathleen Ho, author of Living Forward After Loss, featured as a sponsored ad on this podcast. Kathleen has lived in Southern California since her family immigrated to the United States from Vietnam in 1994. She has worked in the education field for more than 10 years. Outside of work, Kathleen has been involved in the All Nations Toastmasters Club, a nonprofit educational organization that teaches public speaking and leadership skills. Kathleen had been married to David Bigby for 10 years by the time of his passing in 2015 from high blood pressure. Together, they had built up a retail and online business. They enjoyed watching movies, discovering new places, and taking a walk on the beach with each other. David's death changed Kathleen's life completely. Her world collapsed with this loss. With the support of her family and friends, she was able to bounce back to life 2 years later. Since then, she has committed to helping those who are struggling with the death of loved ones to honor her late husband's life. Welcome, Kathleen, to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you, Ron. Thank
you.
So
glad to have you.
Yeah.
Tell us about David and your life with him before his passing.
David was a wonderful man. He loved me unconditionally, and he treated people around him with love and caring. He very positive, always smiling. Even he had a really bad day, but he always said, I had a wonderful day in heaven. He always bring the happiness to people around him.
He sounds like a wonderful man.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. You said you had an online business. What was that all about?
We had the popcorn business. We made.
Oh, really?
And we just saw it in the local event on the website, and we were recognized by the ABC News at the best popcorn in LA for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds fantastic. Was it different kinds of popcorn or?
Yeah, we had some caramel popcorn, chocolate popcorn. We had a lot of flavor, and we enjoyed it because we worked together as the husband and wife. So very fun thing to work together.
Now tell me, just a little background. David passed away from high blood pressure, which is a silent killer. Did he know he had high blood pressure? Was it something he was being treated for, or just something that happened?
Actually, he knew it. It happened to his whole family. The sad thing that whole family, all men have died the same thing of high blood pressure. He knew it, but we could not avoid it.
Was he taking medicine?
No, he didn't. That's why I upset with him. He said he knew that, but he refused to take the medicine. That the bad thing happened.
Did he go to the doctor, and was he being treated?
No.
You know, the reason I ask is I am a male breast cancer survivor, and I do a lot of advocacy work with men who contract male breast cancer. And we find that a lot of the men don't get treated. They leave their symptoms. They just, for whatever reason, men are men. They don't want to go to the doctor. They don't want to, deal with it. And by the time, some of them, I don't want to say a lot, but there is a good amount. By the time they get to the doctor, it's already spread. And it could have been a lot easier path for their treatment if they would have gone in. So I always like to stress out there to the audience, if something, be your own advocate for health. If something doesn't feel right, get it checked out, no matter how small it might be.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Man, like you said.
So I read the book. It was a very interesting book. I enjoyed it as much as you can on that subject. You had something in the book. Tell us the egg, potato, and bean story as a life lesson story about dealing with distressing experiences.
I heard the story from my college teacher. He taught one pre-student. That means that in life, things happen to us and around us. But it depends on that, how we deal with that. Either we should like the eggs become bitter and build the wall around us so no one can touch us. Or we just like potato become so weak, feel like with the minded say, pull me, please help me out. Or we just like the coffee beans. You learn how to adjust your new circumstances, adapt to the new situation, and be again. That's why the egg, potato, and coffee. Learn how to deal with it, face it, and be the better, happier person.
Okay, and you found that from a colleague?
Yeah, from my colleagues.
Kathleen, what prompted you to write the book, Living Forward After Loss? What was the catalyst? What was the spark that one day you said, "Hey, I'm going to write a book"?
No, actually, I had to give the credit from my colleague. She always told me that I had a gift and I need to share with the world. But before the death of my late David, I thought I couldn't do it because I thought, how could the person came from other country with English as a second language couldn't do it? I didn't believe myself. But after the passing of David, she kept pushing me. She said, "You could do it. Share your story, your gift with the world." And I started doing that. First, to heal my wound. The second, to help other people.
Well, that's great. A lot of times people just don't think they can do something, and they don't try. And I think the lesson you're giving everyone is you can do it if you put your mind to it.
Yeah,
you and persevere. You can do it.
Yes.
Talk to us about grief and why it is needed to heal the pain of losing a loved one.
I think we cannot avoid the death in life. No one can.
Right.
We deal with the pain of losing someone we love in life. I learned that grief is the window between pain and love. Without love, without pain, right?
Right.
Without body, you will not feel painful when losing that person. So from that, I view the death, the losing as loved one as the avenue for me to look at my life in another way. So I can either let it haunt our life, or I just use it to motivate me to do something better, to bring more meaning to my life. And some people choose the passive way, let it haunt their life. I choose to face the grief. I choose to deal with the pain. Look at the inside of why I'm so sad, and you that motivated for me to fight my future. That's the tool for me to fight for my future.
And to find your purpose.
Yeah, redefine my purpose. What can I do to honor the life of the one I just lost?
Well, I think he's probably looking down and very proud that you wrote that book.
Thank you.
Explain to us taking the appropriate time to grieve. What are your thoughts about that?
I think each of us take a different time to deal with loss because we are different. So no formula or no unit formula for that. To take your own time. Someone may take a longer time, someone may take a shorter time, depend on how do you think about your loss. So I think that no formula for that. But
right. And I think people out there should realize that, and I think, I'm just throwing this out at you. In the United States, it seems like we put some sort of artificial time limit on this thing. And people say, hey, get back, it's time to get back to work. It's time to, move on. And that's not necessarily the right formula for everyone.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Like some people just talk about a few months, some will talk like 5 years, some will talk 2 years. Depend on how you look at that, how you deal with that.
You wrote in the book to be vulnerable going through this process, but do not be unwise. What did you mean by that?
I mean that be willing to face your feelings, talk about this, let it out, but don't ever make any important decision when you are emotional upset. The reason is we cannot think straight and clear when we are emotional upset. We may come up with a very bad decision that may hurt our future and our family. That's why you need to be vulnerable so we can heal a wound, but don't make any big decision during that time.
Good advice. Could you give us some, you talked in the book about self-care, the things that people can do going through the grieving process to restore themselves. Can you give us examples of self-care things to do?
For me, self-care is do not use any alcohol, smoking, or something to numb your pain. Is not a good way to cope with your loss because it will lead to many serious health issues. Self-care for me that taking care of yourself, exercise, relieve your stress by working out, journal it, let your emotion on paper, let it out in any way you want, drawing, talking, any way you want, but avoid the bad habit of smoking, drinking, and lean on somebody else to carry yourself through the difficult time. Don't do it alone. That is self-care to me.
Kathleen, you mentioned exercise, but you also mentioned in the book about journaling. Can you talk about that?
Journaling, that means, because if you ever experience with the life, you will know this. Sometimes we don't want to be with anybody. We should be ourselves alone with our sadness. And sometimes we have nobody to talk with. Usually after a month, people just go back to their normal life.
Yeah.
And to deal with our loss by ourselves, right?
Right.
And at nighttime or weekend night is the most terrible time because we had to face the loss ourselves. And if in that case, you should press your sadness, your sorrow on paper, write down, let it out on paper. So it makes you feel better so you can heal your wound. Let it out on paper.
And did you do journaling yourself?
I do a lot. Even now, I still do it.
You also mentioned being ready for triggers. Can you talk about that?
Being ready for a trigger is that you need to learn how to be ready for holidays and special events related to your late loved one. For me, after losing my late husband, I realized that the holiday is not the same anymore. Before it's a fun time, now it's a more horrible time because it reminds me of my loss. So that's why we need to be ready for that. Don't be alone because the loneliness may make you feel bad and think of like suicide. Be with somebody, but don't ignore your feeling. And for birthday or something else, do the same way. Be with somebody, but pay attention to your feeling. Don't let the loneliness kill you.
Besides holidays and things like that, are there any other triggers you can think of that could set one off?
I think there's holidays, special event, or some places. For me, the city of Long Beach in California is a trigger place for me. Whenever I go back to Long Beach, all the sad memory come back to my mind. So I avoid it for 5 years.
So you're talking about places that would trigger your memory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some streets, some buildings, some beach, some place that you have memory with the one you lost. You think about your loss.
And you said you're still avoiding Long Beach.
I do avoid it right now.
Explain to us what post-traumatic growth is.
Post-traumatic growth is that's the road that you learn after going through some life crisis, such as the death of your family member or some serious events like divorce. After experiencing it, if you had the courage to look up your life, to think about this, and you will realize that life goes on. You have to move on. And you have to look deep inside yourself to learn more about yourself, to figure out what the hidden strength inside you to cope with that. And this skill makes you become a better person, stronger person. You will grow personally and professionally. Like myself, I never thought I could become an author. I think if my husband passed away, I could not sit here today to talk to you.
Right. So what did you find out when researching the question, which I thought was really interesting? Why do bad things happen to innocent and kind people?
This is a very good question. I have thought about it many times.
Yeah.
That's why I figure out by myself. I think like problem, illness that is the part of our human life. So no one can avoid that. Even you are good or innocent, but it happens to everybody. So no one can avoid it.
Right.
So the question is not what it happened to me, but the question you actually say that how could I overcome it? How come what could you do to be happy again? Because problem is a part of human life. No one can avoid it.
You know, that just brings me back to that old proverb. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Turn it around and change it to, why is this happening for me?
Other way learns is that in life, if you want to be happy and successful, you must take full responsibility for your life. That means that you don't need to take responsibility for what happened to you, but you must take poor responsibility for how to deal with that.
Right. Right. Now, challenges are needed for us to grow. Talk to us about how we can make our problems either positive or negative.
Yes, it's another great question from you, Ron.
Well, I'm trying to ask you great questions because you're a very, very intelligent woman.
Thank you. I think that's what I feel like. You think about that. Just thought about the year-round weather. If we have only spring the whole year, we never know how beautiful it is, right?
Right.
Always beautiful, serene, so beautiful. And we will never think about that. It's a good thing we need to need to be grateful for. Because we had a 4 season, the heat of the summer, but I realize how beautiful it is in spring. And the cold of the winter made me realize how the warm and beautiful of the summer. That's what that means. That if you never fail, you never value the life. And if you don't value the life, you don't learn, and you never grow. That's it. Simple as that.
Okay. Makes sense. Discuss with us how we can shift our emotions while grieving, when we're in the grieving state, from a bad to a good mood with what you call power postures.
Yes. Based on my experience, when you're in the bad mood, if you don't pay attention to that, if you ruin your day, whole day, or maybe whole week. So that's why you need to control your mind. You just take the time to deal with that. Quiet, whatever, let all it out. And it's okay. And now I feel better. I will change my mood by taking a walk, go outside, or dancing, whatever. Because your mind is tricky. They don't. When you do something fun, it's okay. Makes me happy.
Mhm.
Let me move from bad to good. I learned that if you put like that, suddenly you feel better because like you're smiling. So that's
Well,
why
for those people who are just listening to the podcast, Kathleen is putting a pen in her mouth and smiling. You can catch it on YouTube because we are on YouTube as well.
Oh.
Just to let you know, Kathleen.
That's okay.
All these episodes are on YouTube.
I don't mind.
And the YouTube channel is It's a Wrap with Rap, the Uncut Podcast.
Yeah.
How can we control our destiny by reprogramming our minds with positive thoughts?
This is the one I keep telling my students daily. We need to learn that we have only one life to live. So it's up to us. It must be positive or negative. For me, whenever I feel down, I'm just read the story of successful people, of the people who have overcome many things to be successful, and learn from them why they could do that. And I myself, if they could do that, why not me? Why not me?
Right.
And then for me every day, in the morning before I go to work, after working out for 1 hour, I will listen to some motivational speech. They talk about how to set up the goal, how to work out on that, how to discipline your mind. Just remember, you are the one to control your life. So don't let it go in the way you don't want. And whenever you feel like you don't want to do anything, just calculate that. 5, 4, 2, 3, 1. The moment you hit 1, get up and do right away. Don't let your brain take it. It's not good. You have to control your mind. I'm the owner. You are not. I can't control my life.
To move forward with renewed purpose, what are some of the steps and questions needed to find our new purpose?
I think you should let the long process. You should take time to reflect what had happened to you and ask yourself, what lesson did I learn from that event? And what made me laugh whenever I think about us? And also what made me cry whenever I think about us? And what brings meaning to my life? For example, whenever I think about the death of my late husband, I ask myself, what made me cry about us? Because losing him, right?
Right.
And I think, well, then I ask myself, how could I deal with that? Be going up and helping other people by sharing my sadness, my story, my gift with other people. I open my heart to them. I build up the compassion for life. And this brings meaning to my life and bring also my laugh and make my life move up to another level so I can look up and have to say, honey, I did that for you.
Awesome. Now, we all want to support those in the grieving process, Kathleen.
Yes.
Please tell us some things we can do for them, and also some of the best and worst things we can say to them.
To support those in grief, what you should do, you need to honor the process, because sometimes it just need us just be quiet. Don't talk anything. Don't give any advice, because when they are grieving, they feel nothing except the sorrow, the pain.
Right.
Don't give advice like, I think you should go to bad school to learn that one. Or how could you deal with your business? Don't ever do this. Just let him lean on your shoulder so he can recover. And sometimes you just help him out with some work like to get a baby, clean up the house, cooking for them. Because when you are sad, you have no energy to do anything else. You just want to lay down and relax and rest so you can feel better. And something you should never talk to people is that be strong. How can I be strong when they're so sad? When
Right.
don't ever say be strong or get over that. No, never say that. Or I know how you feel. No, you don't know how they feel at all. We feel differently, so don't ever say that. What you could do is that just say, I'm so sorry for your loss. I hear my phone number. Call me when you need me. And reach out to them whenever you feel you're comfortable. Like at midnight, say, are you okay? How do you
Right.
feel?
It's pretty much what you're saying is support.
Yeah.
Be there for support. And don't say crazy things like be strong or get over that or it's time to move on, because
No.
that's just not being aware of the person's situation at all. It's just being rude and curse. Yeah.
Be there for them.
What advice do you have for the people out there, be it those that have lost a spouse through death or perhaps divorce, on becoming social again? In other words, getting out there and becoming sociable again. What advice do you have?
I think it's a very tough topic to talk about, because after you losing your spouse, you don't feel comfortable to go out socially, especially with people who know your spouse, right? So I think for that, first you must take time to deal with your loss. but get involved with some healthy activities, such as be volunteers, get involved with the group that set a common loss, like spouse loss, so we can learn from other people how to cope with your loss effectively and become more resourceful. But and also I think that more important is don't hang around with negative people. Don't hang around with people who have the victim minded. Never do it. And another thing is that if you want to date again, make sure you know what you want. Make sure your wound is healed. And when you date, don't compare your spouse with the one you should date. To accept the new people at who he or she is to find new love.
I'd like to ask you, after your loss, did you lose a lot of friends or acquaintances that you had in your married life? And have you acquired new friends in your post-David life?
Yes. Well, I lost some friends from out married life because I didn't want to get involved with them anymore, because if we married to my lot, I just keep in touch with one or two people. But I have more friends from other side. I have more friends from all nations. I have more friends from other group I got involved.
Okay. That's the organization that I talked about earlier.
So I opened my heart to more people. So now I have more new friends now, a lot of friends now.
Well, that's great. Kathleen, what excites you the most going forward with your life? Are you going to write some more books, or what's in the future?
Right now, I'm still working on my second book. It began a few months ago, but I'm struggling now because I couldn't find any idea. So I looked for more idea to put on my new book. And also I just created my YouTube channel. Not very well though.
Oh, you have a channel? You have a channel?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I just like a few months ago, but still didn't go very well. And I just was certified as the specialist to help people who are struggling with loss, any loss, like divorce, death, any loss. I want to use my gift to help people around the world.
So you're going to continue down that path?
Yes.
Okay. So Kathleen, tell us how people can contact you.
They can, I don't know how, I have the YouTube channel called Turn Sadness to Joy.
Okay, could you repeat that again?
Turn sadness to joy.
Okay.
And I had the website called Living Forward After Loss.
Okay.
And they can reach me to my Facebook.
Facebook, okay.
Yes, and my email. And
what's the email?
I have emailed as Kathleen Ho 6@gmail.com.
All right. Are you on any other social media platforms like Instagram or anything like that?
Some Instagrams and Twitter.
You have Instagram?
Yeah.
I'm just getting started with that one. So
No,
that's a challenge. That's a challenge.
Yes, so why did I?
What's your Instagram handle?
I just say that, let's see. I forgot.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Email it to me and I'll put it in the podcast notes. So
Yeah,
I'm going to put all your information in the podcast notes.
Okay, I will email you.
Okay, that sounds great. It's been an honor to talk to you, and I wish you the best going forward. I know it's been a tough road for you, but you have bounced back, and I'm proud to know you. We've known each other for a while, and I know you're gonna do well going forward. We welcome all comments and suggestions to improve the podcast. You can email us at itsarapwithrap@gmail.com. My website is itsarapwithrap.com. If you go there and drop your email address, you can sign up for our newsletter. We're on YouTube. It's a Rap with Rap _ the podcast uncut. And Facebook, it's a Rap with Rap. We are on Instagram right now. It's a Rap with Rap _ the podcast. Thanks everyone for listening. Please stay safe out there. And for now, it's a wrap.